Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of First Look Final Word, the podcast where we take you along to see a movie with us. My name's Pete.
And I'm Trevor. What's going on, deaths bitches? You coming along for this ride?
Okay.
Pete, what are we seeing today?
Yeah, so this week is Final Destination Bloodlines. And I'll read you the synopsis here. Plagued by a violent recurring nightmare, college student Stephanie heads home to track down the one person who might be able to break the cycle and save her family from the grisly demise that inevitably awaits them all.
Okay.
I like that. Grisly,
Okay.
I like grisly demise. You gotta get that into a synopsis.
As it's saying that, this just sort of clicking for me that this might be a legacy sequel, but I actually have no idea because I'm not that familiar with this franchise.
I'm honestly not going to be able to help clarify that in any way whatsoever because I could not name you one character from any of these movies if my life depended on it.
Well, it's got Ali Larder.
Right? Oh yeah. Well,
from
also, what was her
Heroes?
character name though?
Blonde girl.
I think that was her name in most things back in the day.
Yeah. But yeah, also the fact that it's called Bloodlines is just kind of dawning on me. Maybe these are all related to people who cheated death in the previous movies or something.
But my understanding was they all died though, didn't they not?
Well, there were some who survived.
Oh, okay. I guess that would make it better for the movie if some of them survived. I'm sorry, I really know nothing about.
I know at least two people survived the first movie, like the main 90s frosted tips guy. I don't remember what his name is. And Ali Larder, because he visits her in the sequel and she's in the psych ward.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Maybe this is going to be like a Freddy Krueger thing where death is taking it out on all the offspring.
Okay.
Or something.
Oh, of the survivors. That'd be interesting. I wonder if they'll bring anybody back.
Well, I think you'd have to if you're doing a legacy sequel, but
it might just be like, my dad, before he died, told me about this thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe that makes sense because they shouldn't even exist then, right? If they should have died back in the day, then they shouldn't have had kids.
So it'd have to be the surviving people from the earlier movies eventually had kids. Or maybe it's like
those kids are cursed.
Maybe it's like, I heard the story about my uncle, my great uncle on my mom's side. Never had kids of his own because he died tragically when a bowling ball landed on his head.
Right.
Or some shit.
Did you ever see the Fall of the House of Usher that was on Netflix last year?
I didn't.
So that's one of the Mike Flanagan ones, and basically the premise of that one is a deal made with the devil, and 20 years later, all of the offspring start to get killed in ludicrous ways that resemble Edgar Allan Poe works.
So there was no Little John in that then. I thought it was more about Usher. No.
Oh no. That's going right over my head.
On most people. So I was trying to think of a way I could make a joke about Usher, but no, didn't work. Move on.
So
that kind of does that fill the gap of the Final Destination gap there? Because forget me if I'm wrong, but isn't it over 10 years, almost 15 years since the last movie came out?
It's gotta be.
I think it's 14 years. I heard somewhere.
Right, because
which seems pretty crazy. I was like, this is not a dead franchise at that point.
Yeah, I thought that this was one that had movies coming out every now and then, but I guess it's sort of just stopped.
Yeah, I think I sort of assumed that it had just gone to we'll throw one out on streaming every few years and we'll just give it a weird title like Bloodlines or something like that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was one of them a choose your own adventure type thing?
Oh, really?
I think so.
How would they have done that? In the theater?
No, I think I think in the theater it would depend on which showing you went to.
But you know what? That does sound familiar.
But I think the DVD had some options or something.
Oh, okay, they did on Netflix that time for Black Mirror.
Yeah, and they took it off. It's off
now.
Did they? Yeah, they took off all of their interactive stuff. They did one with Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah, there was a Bear Grylls one that my kids really liked. You could pick what he did.
So I think they've taken them all off. I assume that takes up a lot of server.
I mean, I guess, but
yeah, I didn't see that one, but I'm pretty sure that was a thing.
Okay.
I only watched as far as the third one.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there was 4, maybe 5.
I've probably seen more scenes of deaths just on social media than I have actually watched the movies, if I'm being honest.
Right.
So I couldn't tell you any of the plots or any of the characters, but I've probably seen a lot of the death scenes, which is basically all the movie is, right?
Well, it's crazy that these movies came out before YouTube was a thing, because it's like perfectly made for YouTube.
Yeah,
like
right.
watching just crazy death scenes, which is something I like to do also.
Yeah, I bet they're all over TikTok these days as well, especially with the new one coming out.
Yeah, so are you are you excited for this one?
I don't know about excited. I think I've heard it's pretty good as far as Final Destination movie goes. I like it, like we know, I'm not a big horror guy. I don't not a big like let's see a bunch of gory deaths, but like I'm not against it. I'm ready to be entertained by it.
But this one will be fun to watch with a crowd, I think.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, in IMAX as well. It's probably going to be. I'm expecting to see some cool, interesting ways people dying horribly, and that'll be about it. Which I think we'll definitely get.
Well, I actually hope everyone makes it out okay.
Oh, they saved the bloodlines, if you will.
Yeah.
That would be really
Although-
disappointing if there's no deaths in this movie.
We've already seen a death from the trailer.
Oh,
which
have we? I don't even remember the trailer.
It's the guy with like in a tattoo shop.
Oh, is that the trailer for this one? See, that's
Yeah.
one of the ones where I thought maybe I'd seen that on social media from an old movie. Yeah,
It's a really good trailer and a good.
it was.
Well, it's a good scene. I don't like how they kill him, actually.
Well, I do get a bit eye rolly with some of the stuff where I'm like, okay, this is getting a bit ridiculous now.
Well, it's a fine line to ride because you want the deaths to be clever and elaborate, but you don't want it to be like hokey.
Yeah, it is a fine line to tread for sure. And I think I'm a bit less forgiving of that stuff. I'm a bit like, that's just stupid. Whereas I think a lot of people are like, no, it's fun. Look at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Each their own.
I think it'll win you over, man. Yeah,
I did hear a really cool story about this one, though, because I forget the names of the directors. It's like there's two guys directed this movie. But I was reading an interview with them, and they were pitching the movie on Zoom to John Watts is actually the producer of it.
Oh, okay.
The Spider-Man movies. I guess he was a big fan of it, so he was like, "I'll do a new one," and like he took it on and produced it. So these two,
I kind of want to see him direct it.
right? I'd be interested in that way more. But anyway, so these two guys were pitching on Zoom to John Watts and a bunch of executives their idea for the movie, and what they'd done is they'd pre-recorded and planned like a death scene that they then played as the background in the Zoom. So it was like they did this, like they made it so that they could go out of frame, and then like the house went on fire, and then a fan fell off the ceiling and cut one of their heads off.
That's really smart.
It's like okay, you guys have got the gig.
And why don't more people do stuff like that? Well, I guess it doesn't lend itself to every project.
No, exactly.
Right?
But I was reading the interview, and you could tell like they were really into it because we wanted to show that like how it works, where like you set something up and then people just waiting for it to pay off. So like they said that they started off and they like had a big fireplace rocket in the back, but they said it was like August in LA, so there's no reason why they have the fire on. So like they came up with like an excuse as to why there was a fire on. But later on, the fire like makes the whole room go on fire and it all goes up in flames.
Man, what a proof of concept! Like that's
right. It's like
okay. You know what? That made me like 10 times more excited to see this movie now.
I was earlier today when I read that, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give these
cool.
guys a go, man. That's legit, man. They are into it. It's not just a money grab. Like they really wanted it.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any predictions for what kind of deaths we're going to see?
No chance. I would not get the job of making this movie because I'd be like, something falls on him. They'd be like, come on, we've done that.
I'm going to say someone gets like quartered by horses.
Quartered by horses,
yeah.
Like old school style.
Old school.
Wow. Okay.
So it's going to be like a
medieval deaths.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be like at a country club. They're playing polo or something, and then someone gets quartered.
Okay, that's very specific. I just wanted.
Will you give me points if there's anything horse related?
Sure. I just like stuff that's comedic. Like,
well, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, like I want someone to get crushed by something like ridiculous, like a giant statue of an elephant.
Oh, that'd be good.
Why would there be a statue of an elephant, though? Let's be real.
At the zoo.
At the zoo.
An elephant knocks over the statue of the elephant.
Zoo. Well, just someone gets crushed by an elephant. That'd be good, too. Anything involving an elephant. You have horses, I have elephants. We'll see who wins.
Okay.
Might be a whole set of scenes at a zoo. Have they done that before? They should definitely do that.
I feel like that would be hard to do.
Yeah.
Well, and like nowadays they would just do CGI animals that look like crap.
Exactly.
Back in the day,
I guess you can't just like throw a real lion at somebody and
oh, sure you can.
I guess so. Anyway,
sounds like we're both excited, but I really want to get into Superman 2 with you.
Yes, let's do it, man. I'm really excited for Superman 2.
So for folks who are new to the podcast, Pete and I have these ongoing projects where we watch a series of movies, and then this time we were watching every single live-action Superman movie.
Yes, we
This is
are.
episode 3. Our first episode we did on the Golden Age Supermen. So that's Kirk Allen and George Reeves.
Yeah.
And last week we did Superman 1978.
Yes. The motion picture.
If you are new and aren't interested in hearing about Superman, you could just look at the time code and skip ahead to our immediate reactions to Final Destination Bloodlines.
Yes, well, we are on the way there in a car. If you guys are new to the pod and haven't figured that out, so we're driving there now. We're going to go see the movie and then give our immediate reactions afterwards, and then get into spoilers a little bit after that. So yeah, like Trevor said, check out the time code description in the description of the pod if you're not interested in Superman 2 for some reason.
You should be interested in Superman 2. I'm just going to say it.
Right? If you haven't seen it or you haven't seen it in a while, either one, like, it's fine. Just go watch it again and you'll know. Go stop this now, go watch it, and then come back. Or skip ahead and then come back to it later. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to do.
And we will be spoiling it. So
Superman 2, we will definitely spoil, yes.
So remind me again, has it been about 10 plus years since you've seen this one?
I'd say easily 10 years, probably more than that, quite a bit more, to be honest. But I watched this a lot when I was a kid. I know we talked about it on last week's episode, but for those who didn't watch that. And I think I made a realization watching this one. Because I remember seeing this movie a lot when I was a kid, but not necessarily watching the first one very much. And also the same thing with the third one. Like 2 and 3 were the ones I watched the most.
Did you have those on?
And I think we had them on VHS, like recorded back in the day when you used to record them off the TV. And I remember why I remembered so much of the first movie is because they play so much of it during the credit sequence of this movie. I was like, that's why I remember all those things from the first movie, because I used to watch it all the time during the credits of the second one.
Do you like this credit sequence?
No,
this movie.
No. It was like I was like, wow, they're really going there with like the previously on Superman bit. It did not work for me at all.
Well, for my wife who fell asleep on the couch while we watched
during the credits,
she found it very helpful during Superman 2 that they were recapping the movie, but she did also fall asleep about 20 minutes into Superman 2.
Well, and I get that, and it is helpful, but how much of the first Superman movie do you need to know going into this? Because they show you basically every major scene or a clip from it. I'm like, they probably didn't need to show all of that. They could have just shown how he became Superman, and that's about it. Is all you really need to know. Show some of him doing some Superman stuff.
Well, like I guess just seeing the Zod part.
Yeah, but then they just show you that again.
They just show it to you that again.
I really didn't at the time. I was like, I don't really know why they put that in the first.
They really should have cut it out of the first movie.
Yeah, right. Like it's like, oh, here's Terence Stamp. That's gonna be cool. Well, where's he gone? When's he coming back?
Next movie.
Fair play to him for being like, that's all for the next movie, guys.
He probably got a good paycheck for both movies too, which is good.
Right.
So what were your impressions this time around? Like, I know last week I said I think I like Superman 2 a bit better than the first one.
Yeah.
I would reverse that this week.
It's a tough one, right? Because like I say, I've watched one so many times. I have a huge soft spot for like my nostalgia is saying I love this one the most. But it's way broader than the first one. It's way Like, I know we can get into the reasons why it ended up being that way and whatnot, but it's just like it's a bit more goofy and just like silly.
Yeah, it's a bit like sloppier technically as well.
Yeah, that's fair, to be honest. That is fair. It seemed like basically what it was. It was something that was slapped together out of a bunch of different ideas and things and actual things that have been shot and tried to squeeze into a movie that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but there you go. And it had some stuff in it that's just like, what is that? What is going on with that?
But I still love this movie. I still really, really love it.
Like even the stuff that you could tell is just like, where's this come from? Like when I was a kid, I never really questioned any of it. It's like, why would Lois Lane go to Paris? Like, I don't understand why she's even there. Why would he fly all the way there to like the weird terrorist with the bombs?
And what has Clark Kent been doing that he has no idea that this is even happening?
Yeah, there was a lot of that in the movie. Like, why does Superman not know what's going on?
I like that Lois Lane went to Paris, and Perry White even mentions that she's the best reporter he's ever seen. He's like, sorry, Clark, you're pretty good, but she's a crack whiz.
That's true. Right? That's true.
I think that's kind of good for her character, and like it kind of makes sense because she just rushes headfirst into death all the time.
Yeah, she does. I guess I don't know. I just thought it was like immediately she's like, I'm just going to go to Paris. It's like, you can't just go from New York to Paris like right quick when something's happening.
Now, I don't understand what those terrorists are, like what their goals are.
Well, I did notice that Uncle Vernon was one of the terrorists from Harry Potter.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
It's like the most British man of all time.
Right. It's funny. I actually I made notes as I was watching it. I live tweeted it into my phone.
Oh, that's
just
hilarious.
so I'd have some stuff to pick up. And my first note is Uncle Vernon the terrorist. It's the first thing I've noticed that I wanted to write down.
So they've taken hostages at the Eiffel Tower, which they then give up without really much as a show of good faith, and then they start setting up a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, like from what I gathered, the nuclear bomb was just leverage because they wanted something. Like I don't think they ever meant to set it off, and then they accidentally set the timer off, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we're fucked now."
And Superman goes way too far out into space with that.
I mean, I guess you got to be prepared, right?
Like good for him for knowing like you don't want this to detonate like high in the atmosphere because that can
true
like radiation winds and whatnot. But like he basically went past the moon with this thing. Like
yeah, it's not close to the moon, right? Yeah. Let's be real. And he wasn't going that fast. Yeah. That was the one thing I did find in this movie, and the first one to be fair, is that they didn't do a very good job of showing how fast Superman is. He seems to like not be able to get to places very quickly unless he really needs to, and then he goes really fast. Unless he's trying to spin the world backwards or whatever. And it's like, well, how fast is he supposed to be? Because it took him a long time to get to Utah, but he got to Paris pretty quick. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think it was like 2 minutes to get to Paris or whatever. Do you think that sounds about right?
I guess. I should have got a stopwatch out or something. Anyway, that whole Paris thing, like, that's burned into my memory as a kid. Like whenever I think of it, like when you think of Lois Lane in peril, I always think of her on the elevator on the Eiffel Tower versus hanging off the helicopter.
I love that she distracts the guard by like bringing out her like translator dictionary thing.
Gives him the little book. And then
it's like what how do you say stairs in French? And he's just like looking through the book or whatever. Yeah. I do like the effect of like the elevator coming down and Superman, going up through the Eiffel Tower with it. I thought that looked pretty good.
And I just remember feeling like, how terrifying would it be to like be lay on the bottom of the elevator? It's like the world's best and worst theme park ride. It's just like you're going down, you're going up. It's like, oh, that'd be terrifying.
So then that nuclear blast sets free
Zod and Co.
Zod and Co.
Yes.
I don't like the line from Superman's mom that says like the only thing that can set them free from the Phantom Zone is a nuclear blast. Like I don't think that needs to be spelled out for us.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that Lara says in this movie that I'm just like, oh man, you
like because she's filling all the blanks from Marlon Brando, who did not return for any reshoots or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So then he was like cut out of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get into that when we talk about that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, you could kind of tell it was a bit like, oh, they're cutting around stuff and having her explain stuff away because they can't shoot it or they don't have the footage, which was kind of sad. But yeah, they laid it on a bit thick with some of that stuff.
So
the only thing that'll set them free is an explosion inside a metal box.
Yeah, and nuclear blast in space or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so if they get close to the sun, doesn't that free them automatically?
Technicalities, Trevor.
They just happen to be floating the Phantom Zone near. Yeah, anyways.
And it didn't even really explain why they were even anywhere near our solar system in the first place. They're just floating around in space.
Well, it kind of just imagines space as like two directions, like one where Krypton used to be and two is where Earth is.
Exactly.
And just everything's moving towards us.
It's like either or situation.
So what do you think of Terence Stamp as Zod?
I think he did a good job. Like, he definitely like he made the choice of like he's just gonna play it like he's just bored and like irritated by Earth being just like pretty shit and just screaming about wanting people to kneel in front of him. Like I felt like he wasn't really putting his best effort into it or anything. He was,
interesting.
Like,
okay.
I thought he was great. I mean, he's Terence Stamp. He did a great job, but he was like, I think the character as written, especially in the theatrical release, was just a bit like. He just like stuck his nose up and acted like everyone just sort of bored him, and then that was about it.
Well, I really like this version of the character.
Yeah,
because he's basically
the open shirt.
Yeah, he's just like he's a criminal on Krypton. Like he's basically like like if Hitler was like shot into space before he figured out how to take over everything, right?
Yeah.
He's just so convinced of his own superiority.
Right.
And then through crazy circumstance, he ends up on Earth where he gets like godlike powers. Now he actually like feels and is capable of being the way that he has always felt about himself anyways. Like my mother was right about me. I am the most special.
I am special.
And I think like he's just so scary when he's like, you know, all I care about is your undying loyalty, and your reward for obeying me is I will allow you to live.
Yes, like I won't kill you.
I think when he's like screaming that he wants like the son of Jor-El when he's in the president's Oval Office or whatever, I think it's really effective.
Yeah.
You're right that it's one note. It definitely is one note, but I think he's hitting that one note really well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no issue with him. As I say, he did a great job. I just thought like he didn't got much beyond just like I'm going to take over everyone. Not that he needed it, but
well, I say compared to Michael Shannon, who is an actor I really really like.
Right.
I think like that rendition of Zod is just much better than.
It's interesting though because I feel like Shannon played him more as like a general. He seemed to be more like a military guy who just like was a despot versus like Terence Stamp just played it like
he's a zealot.
Yeah, I'm an intellectual cult leader.
Yeah,
like he didn't seem like a general really. It's just like I wanted to be called a general because it's a cool name.
Well, in this version, it definitely seems like it's just these three people who are just running amok,
right?
Causing problems. Excuse me. So no, it really worked for me. I liked his lady sidekick too.
Yeah, Ursa.
His
a non.
His non, which like, did you catch what they said to him when they were sentencing him?
No. Oh yeah, it's like, something really harsh. It's like brainless brute or something, right?
You have like as many thoughts in your head as you speak or whatever, right? Because he's on mute. It's like, yeah, it's like you don't say anything because you're a fucking idiot.
Yes. Which it seems pretty harsh. Like you got a sentence the same as Zod, when really it just seems like an idiot that Zod is using.
Yeah.
He really is an idiot though. Like he makes so many stupid decisions in this movie. I like that. I did kind of feel like when they are released from the Phantom Zone and they're just sort of floating around in space, wouldn't they be a bit more panicked about that? Because
they shouldn't be able to survive without those powers,
because at Krypton they're not like used to just being around in space. They're flying about.
They look like a crew who can roll with the punches. That's their greatest superpower.
Like, oh, I guess we're flying now.
Oh, they fly now?
But the next note on my list that I had was when Houston are talking to the guys in space on the moon.
Yeah.
One of the guys who's talking to him is John Ratzenberger.
Oh, really?
Did you see that?
No. I should have picked up on the voice.
Yeah.
So this would have been like a few years before Cheers.
Yeah, I was like, this is like a who's who of like 90s guys. I'm loving it.
Like, guys with interesting faces.
Exactly.
Did Vernon have a beard or a mustache in this one?
He did have a beard, didn't he? No, maybe. I think he was clean shaven, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just always picture him with the beard.
Yeah, because he had one of those faces where I was like, I know who that is, but I can't place it. So I looked it up and I was like, there he is.
The character of Zod and those other Kryptonians coming to Earth is always such an important part of the story because it shows what someone who doesn't have that strict moral code that Superman has, what would happen to if someone was just given powers like that.
Exactly, right. And it's like the Red Sun storyline where
he goes to Russia.
Baby Clark lands in Russia and sort of changes. Like I find that interesting as well. It's like Superman, that character, he could have grown up in many different ways, and like he's all for truth, justice, and the American way, but he could have landed anywhere else and grown up with different ideals in place.
And some versions he's even more like rah America or whatever. Than in these movies where he's not.
No, they just have him wave a flag around sometimes.
Yeah, he carried the flag. I think that was I think it was a bit too much.
Yeah, well, I mean they like that stuff though.
He apologized to the president for not stopping these people while he was getting laid.
He probably should. We'll get to that. Well, you definitely should have apologized. Like what the F, Superman?
What the hell did he do wrong? He didn't do anything wrong.
He was like sleeping on duty, man. Like.
What is he supposed to? He needs a break, dude.
Yeah, but this is the one time when he shouldn't have a break because this is his problem. These are people from his hometown who
he didn't. But how is he supposed to know about this?
Like, just pay attention, man. You got super hearing.
Well, you know what? They don't really lean into he can hear everything on Earth thing.
Yeah, and
I think it's Man of Steel that, or
Yeah.
not Superman Returns.
Yeah,
That
and I
kind
was
of
really like trying to remember that like there was a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily canon with Superman. Like there's a lot of like pre-crisis stuff in the comics. So
yeah.
even like the power set of Superman, so it's like when people are like, oh, it's stupid that he can just like hypnotize Lois's memories away with a kiss. It's like,
Okay, we'll get to that one.
I
Yeah.
kind of in the comic books, he done stuff like that before, but we'll get into that. But yeah,
So why don't we talk about Clark and Lois
yeah.
during this one?
I guess we just go sequentially through the movie because the next bit is them in Canada, right? They come to Canada.
Well, they're either on. I think they're on the Canadian side.
Yes, because it shows the Canadian flag. I was very happy
Yeah.
about that. I
And
wrote "Oh Canada" in my notes.
And the Canadian side is nicer. Like
It is the best one.
upstate New York, come at me. But it's a nicer side.
Because I'll tell you, this is another little insight into young Pete in England watching Superman. My whole understanding of Niagara Falls was from Superman 2. And mostly Lois in the Rapids. So when I came to Canada, I was like,
You're afraid that everyone's just falling in.
no, I was like, let's go to the Niagara Falls. That's where Superman and Lois Lane went in Superman 2. And I went there and I was like, where's the Rapids? So in my brain, I was like, oh, maybe they must have been on the US side in that movie.
No, like
But then they definitely were because it's like,
there is a lot like rougher water, but it's much further downstream.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, oh no, this is definitely the Canadian side. I've stood where Clark stood right there.
Yeah, it's actually like quite calm, like right up until you get to the falls, basically. But then there's like
nice.
a lot of people do white water rafting downstream
yeah,
from there.
Yeah.
Not just downstream, like it's a bit of a drive.
Well, like crazy how reckless people are letting their kids climb on the banisters. Like that's insane.
I have memories of like climbing up on something like that in Niagara Falls
really?
as a kid. Yeah, not like unsupervised, like just doing that on my own accord.
Right. It seems so dangerous.
So she's getting very suspicious.
Yes.
Once he saves that little boy.
Well, she was suspicious before that, wasn't she? I've watched both cuts lately, so I'm confused. But like, doesn't she do the thing where she's like, like you're never around when Superman's around?
Well, she does that at the end of the first one, but as the second one starts, like Clark walks in at the Daily Planet, and then she's like, "Oh man, isn't Superman just the best?" And he's like, "Oh, that guy," and he's playing it up that he's jealous, and then she's just like, I think you're such a great friend, and like she like friend zones him like that, so he's like feeling really down about Superman. Or the Clark character is
right, yeah.
And then once he saves the boy, she's like, "Okay, that's it. You are Superman. Like I'm not an idiot."
Well, hold on, but right before he saves the kid, though, his glasses steam up, and he takes them off.
You're right.
And she cleans them, and then she looks at him, and she's like, "Oh shit, it's Superman."
Because he was gonna clean the glasses on his face,
she's like,
but
no,
then she takes them off, and then that's the first time she sees him without glasses on.
I guess so.
He's just careful about it, and then she's like, "Oh, what the heck? This guy's handsome AF."
Right? That looks just like Superman.
It's just
he'll do in a pinch. Yeah, but then he goes for hot dogs, and then the kid falls off the falls and takes an eternity to fall down there, which seems like
like it's not like 5 kilometers up.
No, it would not take that long to fall down.
It would take maybe 4 seconds to fall to the bottom.
And I love the doll of the kid that they throw off. It was so hilarious.
When she throws herself in the water and is pretending to. Or not pretending, like she's like, I know you're Clark and I know you're Superman, you're gonna save me. Christoper Reeve as Clark Kent right there is like, that's his best Clark Kent, where he's like, oh geez, oh gosh,
and he falls in the water and stuff.
It's really, really good.
He lays it on thick, but he does it in such a good way that it doesn't seem silly.
She's like, I cannot believe I thought you were like, and he completely convinces her in that moment.
Yeah, he does a good job.
And then not till the hand in the fire thing, and you could tell he has like machinations in his head, like how am I going to get out of this one? And he's like, shit, it's over.
Done. Yeah, I kind of bumped up against that a little bit watching it again because I'm like, really, like I know he's Clark Kent and he's bumbling, but he does that on purpose. So, like, as Superman, is he really gonna like take a big pratfall over a freaking rug and land in some fire? I was a bit like, but then I was
Well,
like, maybe he did it on purpose because part of him actually wanted to tell Lois.
yeah, like he
and he was
says
like, I'm just
something.
gonna force it
He
now.
says something to that effect almost. It's like, well,
Or does
or
he?
no, she says like maybe it's something subconscious, like you just wanted me to know.
Oh, maybe that's why I thought of it then, because literally,
Yeah, like
she literally told me.
because really, like he has like perfect coordination.
Yeah,
right?
it's like
so that
Superman
shouldn't happen.
ain't tripping over a rug and landing in a fire. Like, let's be real here. Come on now.
So then they're like, well, okay, so I guess we are in love with each other. We should go on vacation from this vacation to the Fortress of Solitude. And like, how do you feel about his decision to like just give it all away?
This is probably my biggest gripe with this movie
Oh, interesting.
because, like, I don't understand the reasoning behind Superman can't be with Lois Lane unless he gives up his powers.
Well, it's sort of this like underlying thing in the comics and the movies that, they don't really explicitly say, but a lot of fans speculate is that he can't actually have sex with a human being.
Yes, yeah. Any fans of Mallrats will know that conversation as
It's
well.
like he would need a kryptonite condom, but that would kill him.
Yeah, which I mean, is that really what it is though? It's like we can't bang unless I give up my powers. Because to me that's even worse. Because it's like immediately I'm going to give up my powers so that we can immediately bang right now.
Well, she's like, I gotta slip something into something more comfortable. He's like, oh shit, like it's happening.
Yeah, so it's like I better get rid of my powers.
But you got to think like this guy is like a total virgin, right? Like
I guess they're saying he is, right? He'd have to be.
He would have to be. So like he's gonna be making rash decisions based off of just wanting to have sex.
I mean, I guess. Well,
no, but I really like, and you don't really have to think about the mechanics of it. Like think about it like it's a Greek myth. Like he had like.
Yeah, like he just has to.
It's forbidden for a god to be with a mortal, right?
Yeah.
So he has to give up his mortality. Thinking about it more a poetic way like that than like crude, like, he would just have sex too hard and like she wouldn't be able to withstand
I think that when I say that's my problem with it, I think that's what it is. I think I just needed the movie to give me a reason versus just leaving it kind of unexplained. Like they could have done it in any different ways. They could have just said like I can't, like, because I'm a god or whatever. Or it could have been like do the Spider-Man thing where it's like I don't want to put you in danger by being my girlfriend, even though people wouldn't know she's a girlfriend, but whatever.
Well, yeah, I choose to think of it like, and the movie did not say this explicitly, but like I'm lonely, I love you, I want to be with you. I can't be with you if I'm Superman. If we're gonna be together, I want to be in this all the way.
I think I'd just been sullied by watching Superman and Lois on TV like over the past few years, because they did a really great job of Lois knowing he's Superman and them just having a normal-ish life and kids and stuff.
Well, I was actually going to say, so Smallville had like a like ongoing arc about this exact thing.
Oh, really? But I've not been able to.
So Clark lost his powers through like, it's like orange kryptonite or something like that.
Yeah, it's always something like
it takes away your powers if you wear it or whatever, so then you can become mortal, but then take it off.
Well, then that's what that's what the Red Sun does in the comics.
Yeah. So like he's like technically mortal, and then he and Lana lose their virginities to each other.
Nice.
But then he gets his powers back, and then like he just like keeps making up excuses why they can't have sex again, and then like they like break up, and she's like heartbroken over it.
No,
but like that's an actual plot line in Smallville. Like he's like he's like
funny.
I can't, like, I think Chloe knows it.
Right.
He's like yeah, I just like I can't have sex or I'll kill her or whatever.
One of those orange kryptonite Johnnies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, outside of that,
Did you call it a Johnny?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, in England they call it Johnnies.
Oh man,
Rubber Johnny in it.
Oh man. Okay, I'm learning more and more. It's like,
yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like you could just say let's be together and be in love and just be abstinent. Like, did he even have that conversation? He just immediately was like, I'm going to give up all my godlike powers.
Well, but you know what? She was watching that whole time, and like she's like, okay,
she didn't stop him, right? That's the thing.
And I will say, she did bring that nightie when she thought she was just going on a trip with Clark Kent. just saying.
Yeah, she does. She isn't painted in the best light in this movie, sadly.
But no,
old Lois.
I think that just the core concept of that idea, he gives up his godlike powers because he wants to be with her. I think that is romantic as hell.
Well, there you go. Who would have known? Superman 2, a romance.
And and then I think like the scene of him like at the diner getting his ass kicked. So, like he's not a good fighter at all, but
No.
like him feeling like pain and seeing his blood for the first time, like Reeve is really, really selling that really well.
He really
like
does.
he's such a good actor.
I did think it's like super harsh that he goes back there as Superman at the end and just kick that guy's ass.
Yeah, no, like I was gonna say the same thing. Like that is not something Superman would do at all. That's put in for an
No.
audience to like be set, like get satisfied.
Yeah. I wrote in my notes. It's like beating the shit out of a toddler because they hit you in the balls.
Yeah, like seriously, like
It's like, come on, Superman, you're so overpowered. Like, why are you messing this guy up?
It's funny that like this like 5'7" guy,
Yeah,
like
like-
Plaid at this diner is just like just the big bully. He's not.
He's
like,
not a big dude, right?
He is smaller than Christoper
Yeah,
Reeve.
that's what
as
I was
Clark
saying. I
Kent.
was like, he kicks his ass, but Christoper Reeve is still like 6'4", like hench.
Yeah. It's like, come on, Four Eyes.
But then
like,
I-
back
but
when
then
that was
like,
an insult.
I gave him a bit of a pass because it's like, well, he sucker punches him, and Superman probably isn't worried about people sucker punching him, and then he's feeling pain for the first time in his life, so he's probably a bit like shaken up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could have taken him.
Well, we can talk about the Kryptonian fights. Like,
Yeah, I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of Superman 2, and we're already at the movie theater.
so I do like the fight in the city. Like him getting thrown into the Coca-Cola
Yeah.
sign actually looks pretty good.
You know, I
would
did
say.
notice that I hadn't noticed before when he reflects Zod's laser vision back at him, and it does like the radiation shadow on the billboard behind him and leaves like the outline. Of
Oh,
Zod.
yeah.
I hadn't never noticed that before. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, actually, just to go back a second, when Superman is like getting his powers removed,
Yeah.
I think that whole sequence is done really, really well. Like of like the separating of like the two.
Yeah, see, I didn't
people-
like that. It didn't make any sense to me. Like
Well-
why does it give him a shirt and slacks and a shit haircut?
It's a metaphor, Pete.
No, but it's like you don't have to be so on the
I would
nose
actually-
about it.
I would actually say like it's kind of a bad metaphor for Superman. I think it's a misunderstanding of the character because
right.
he's not like living a dual life. Like
No,
one is a
yeah.
disguise or whatever. I think that's a very effective technical sequence.
Yeah, but like I remember when I was a kid, I remember that confusing me a bit. When I was a bit like, oh, is Superman now a separate person, and he's still around, but he's just now they're two separate people because that's what it kind of looks like. And then I was always like, well, at the end when Zod and his mates lose their powers, they don't get boring clothes and shit haircuts.
Yeah, nothing really happened to them.
No, it's like pick a lane, man.
But I do think that this like that whole machine and like reversing it was actually really well done. And like he
Yeah,
left to go to the Fortress of Solitude for a reason. Kind of looks
Yeah.
like he's just running away. But like one, it's getting people away from Metropolis, which
Yep.
is smart, and two is like he's just
He had a plan,
setting up
right?
this little scheme, which I think
he had a plan.
I think was pretty cool, and like the movie earned that sort of thing. Like it could seem like it's just an easy
The
solution.
only thing I didn't was like he was laying on a bit thick when he was talking to Lex Luthor, and he's like, we gotta get him in the machine, and then he's like, shh, they're coming, they're listening. Shh.
Yeah, that'll happen a little too quickly.
I was like, well, you don't have to lay on that thick, man. You know he's gonna do it anyway.
No, and then I guess they kind of just murder them after by kicking them into
Yes.
the abyss, which is pretty funny.
Which is a great conversation because there was so much stick about Man of Steel when he kills Zod, and in this movie, he is literally about to rip his head off. Before that, before he only stops because they threaten Lois, so he was about to rip his head off anyway. And then when they have no powers, he's straight up murdering people who are not a threat.
Lois Lane just like kicks her, like that's something that 80s movies always did, right? The two chicks had to fight.
Yeah, she punched her in the face at the
And then
end.
she just like falls into the abyss, like assume like she's either dies or she's gonna.
I saw a quote from the guy who actually played Non, and he said there was actually a scene that they were supposed to shoot which showed that they didn't die at that point. They've just like got kicked into a jail and they get sent to some
new phantom zone.
special prison. Well, they're like humans at that point anyway. So, but he said that like they were not supposed to be dead at that point. Is the point he was making?
Right. The movie did not communicate that.
The movie did not communicate that at all.
So have you seen the Donner cut?
I
of
have.
this?
Yeah, I watched it this week.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
what are some key differences?
Have
then?
you not
I've
seen it?
I've never seen the Donner
Oh
Cut.
man,
No.
we don't have time to get into it, man. I could talk about the Donner Cut for an hour, but
Some people
it's
love it.
very different.
Some
Like
people love it, but
yeah, like
it
maybe
seems
we'll
like the chief like difference, or like the chief thing about Donner that the producers didn't really like is that, you know, he was too artsy fartsy with it, right? And like they
yeah
wanted to be more broad and more slapsticks. That's why they
yeah.
brought in Lester.
There's definitely a lot of that, but even just like the structure of it is different. The whole Paris scene is not in it.
Right. And I've heard like the like love scene, isn't it? Like
It
the
is,
sex
but
scene
it's
isn't in it?
but it's like they don't show it as much. And honestly, it's
No, like I need to know that he had sex
yeah,
once.
you
I need to
you
know
definitely
that.
do know that. It cuts to them in bed, but it's like a quick cut to them in bed for 4 seconds to show you what Superman's actually up to while stuff's going on. But yeah, it's very different. It's definitely like it's not a complete movie, right? It's like it's almost like an
Well, yeah.
assembly, and like they do bits where the one scene, like the whole scene of him falling in the fire is not in it. She finds out he's Superman by pretending to shoot him with a blank.
I've seen that before.
And that scene, it's like test screen footage. That's all they had. So it's like,
Oh,
like
right.
why is
So
why is he
like
acting like
were
not really like Superman?
they're
It's like,
figuring out like blocking and stuff, right?
yeah,
At
yeah.
that point, yeah.
It wasn't even that. I think it was like literally a test screening, a test shot for the actors, just like before they were even properly hired or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's like, so
Well,
I was watching, I was like, this scene sort of comes out of nowhere. There's no setup for it, and it's like all in one room. And I'm like, Christoper Reeve is acting a little bit weird in this scene. It's not that's not his Clark Kent. And it's like, yeah, because he hadn't figured it out yet.
And I did hear like him reversing the Earth's orbit was supposed to happen at the end of all of the stuff Zod was doing, right?
Yeah, so they did do that at the end of this movie, but it doesn't make any sense for him to do it at that point.
You already didn't like it in the first one.
Yeah, but like I don't hate it in theory, but like at least in the first one, like he has a real emotional reaction and he just does it. In this one, it's just like he does it for the shit. He does it for the shits and giggles of it.
One probably gives the impression that he'll just do it whenever.
And it makes it so much worse because the way they arrange the shots, it showed like right at the end, he turns back the Earth so that nothing with Zod ever happened, and Lois forgets that he's Superman. And then the scene after that is him going back to the diner to kick that guy's ass. So that guy doesn't even know who he is. I'm just like, that's way worse.
That's so funny. But you know what? Some people love the Donner Cut though.
But I didn't. I'm not saying I didn't love it. All the stuff with Jor-El is way better. All the stuff like in the Fortress of Solitude is way better. There's way more Lex Luthor, I think, that to show his character. There's lots in it that's way better.
I'm sure if he was able to finish it, it would have been the superior movie.
Oh, I agree.
I still think the product we got was pretty good, like despite all of its many flaws.
Yeah, and the stuff like in Manhattan when they're blowing the people and it's just pure slapsticky. Like I was watching real close and there's a guy on roller skates getting blown.
A guy with an ice cream.
There's a guy with an ice cream. A guy trying to take a call laid down. And there's also, I'm pretty sure it's a reference to Singing in the Rain. So with someone with an umbrella at the top. Like, and I'm just like, this is brutal.
Well, I could tell, like, yeah, it's just a completely different approach to how to do it.
It was crazy. Yes, but a lot of that stuff was just changed. So like you can see, like I definitely did like the Donner Cut, but it's like it's not like, oh, this is way better in every aspect.
You can't judge it on its own.
Because it's funny because like Lester went back and reshot some scenes, right?
Well, he reshot a lot so that he would get the director credit, right?
And like the shots that he re-seen, some of them are actually better than the ones that are in the Donner Cut.
Yeah,
like it just like work better and like better deliveries, even just like better plot.
Well, to be honest though, like you have the advantage of like someone already did it, so you can see it see if you could do better.
Well, that's just it, right? So there's stuff like that where I'm like, some of the decisions that they did with the Donner Cut, I'm like, I don't really agree with that. And some of the stuff that they cut out, I'm like, oh, I wish they'd left that in. And like they cut some just like random bits of scenes out, like just I don't know.
It's just a fascinating like piece of film history of like this sort of thing happening.
Yeah.
But I guess like not seen until like Justice League.
No, exactly. Right? Yeah, like the next time Superman needed a director's cut.
Okay, well, that should be enough. But enough of Superman 2.
I could definitely talk more about Superman 2, but let's put a pin in that.
Pete and I will be talking about Superman live action for the next few weeks, so make sure to tune back. But now we're going to go and watch Final Destination Bloodlines.
You almost forgot it.
If you're new to the podcast, Pete and I are going to go inside and watch the movie and give you a spoiler-free reaction before giving you lots of warning before heading into spoiler talk. Anything else, Pete?
No, I think that's about it. Let's go and see some people die horribly.
Yeah, let's do it.
With no one to save them.
All right, wish us luck.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we are, holding on to my seat a little bit tighter on the way home today. Just hoping that no flying logs come through the window or anything. But yeah,
there were some logs in this one. That's a callback to the third one.
Great callback, right?
Or the second
third one. I remember that scene, but as we talked about, I could not tell you what movie it's from or who that kills.
Yeah, we just saw Final Destination Bloodline, and what did you think, Pete?
It was good, man. It was exactly what I was hoping it was going to be. It was like crazy deaths, gory as hell, and pretty funny overall. I thought it made me laugh quite a bit, even though some of that was just a visceral reaction to horrible things happening.
Yeah, there's some really gruesome deaths in this one. I will say, I think one of the deaths is going to go down as an all-timer.
Really?
Like the one, well, I can't say, but
yeah, we'll get into the nitty gritty of the deaths when we hit spoilers. But yeah, I'd be interested to know which one you think.
I think one of them was like a masterwork.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I really enjoyed was the opening of the movie.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool doing it like a period piece, like death scene situation without spoiling too much.
Well, each one of these movies all like basically like opens up with someone having a premonition of what's going to happen, and then they're warning people like, hey, don't do that thing, whatever, and then like they cheat death, whatever, right?
And yeah.
So this one does
we all know how it works.
It has an interesting spin on it because we don't actually get to see the non-premonition happen until much later in the movie. So I think that was a good way to break it up.
A good way to make things fresh after. Like I don't know what number this is in the in the movie line, but to keep things fresh with this many movies in, I thought it was a really good way of doing it.
Yeah, I was worried about that hokiness of like getting too cute. I don't think any of the deaths were too cute. I think they're all like pretty fun and inventive, and the one that was sort of like lame-ish, like we were kind of like pointing at how lame it was, almost like it's tough to talk about these things.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know which one you mean.
So, like, how did the like acting work for you in this one?
It was hit and miss. I mean, I honestly feel a little bit like maybe there was too many characters, which I guess you have to do to have all the different deaths, but it seemed a bit like some of them were just, hey, I'm stand-in person.
Yeah.
And like some of them got, I think, a bit shortchanged, where it's like they didn't do anything in the movie apart from stand there and be upset when people die.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess, like I say, you kind of have to have it, but...
I just love how everyone calls them, like, each other, like, hey, cuz, or hey, bro. Yeah. Like, so that we as the audience understand the relationship between all these people in a movie where they, like, lay out, like, a family tree. So, like... You could have just like waited for this part to make sure we really got it.
Yeah, it was a bit like, I can't imagine that there's any family that actually has the dynamics that this family have. But I mean, maybe that's just because they're have such a fucked up lineage.
Yeah, bonded through trauma, I guess.
I mean, I guess, but it was kind of odd the way they acted with each other, to be honest. But hey ho, that's not really the point of the movie. I wasn't going there to see any like Oscar-winning monologues or anything, so it was fine. I thought the main character, Stephanie, I thought she did pretty well.
Yeah, she's. I think her and her brother were pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the one cousin, like the tatted up guy, I think he was probably the best in the movie.
Yeah, he did a good job. He had all the best bits, to be fair.
Yeah,
and he could just play it dead broad. So,
do you think that they offered that role to Kieran Culkin first? Like they had to, or like a Kieran Culkin type.
I was gonna say like maybe he'd be too old, but then I remembered that they all look like they're in the 40s.
Well, like yeah, the youngest cousin on the one side, I'm like, oh, I thought he was the fucking oldest. Like
how old were they trying to make out that he was? Because he definitely looked like he was in his 30s.
Yeah, no, I think they were trying to say like he was like 19 or whatever, and his older siblings were like 21 or 23.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he was not.
I don't think anything looked like the younger brother looked high school age.
Yeah, to be fair, he did look pretty young, but
He's probably 25 or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Like the main actress is probably 30.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
just how these things go.
Yeah, but I mean, no, that's not. You can't really be down on it for that. It's like you say, that's how these things go. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but I thought there was a couple of. I thought that it was really well directed. I thought they did an excellent job of like really like laying it on thick. It's like here's something that could kill you, and then just like sometimes paying off, and other times it's like there's a lot of red herrings thrown around, or it comes off how you're not expecting. I thought they did a real good job of just like really leaning into the fact it's like, oh, this thing might kill someone, and you're like, oh,
Well, yeah, they were really like doing the work.
yeah,
I
they
think.
really did, yeah.
So you could tell that this is a passion project. I'm
Yeah.
glad I got that anecdote from you
I
beforehand
know.
because you could really see the love for this
Yeah,
franchise
they had
on
a
the
great
screen.
time doing it, right? They knew exactly they knew exactly what was good about this franchise, and they knew exactly what to not play it too seriously and to lean into the like honestly the silliness of it, but also give like really gory, like horrible shit happening.
Well, they know that you can't like brutally kill a child in these movies unless you make the child a complete asshole, and then it's fine to do.
Yes, yes. That was very cathartic without spoiling it too much. Yeah,
Well,
that's
the whole opening sequence was really, really satisfying.
oh, it was so well done. It was really good. Like just like ramping up the tension from the very very beginning. It just like keeps ramping it up and ramping it up and just oh man, it was really well done.
So why don't we jump into spoilers?
Yeah, I
Because
think like we have to,
this one's
right?
really tough. Before we go, everybody, I want to remind you we're still running our recurring Letterbox contest. So follow the show and follow us on Letterbox for a chance to win a year subscription to Letterbox Patron. So that's real money in your pocket,
Right? That's like
right
that's
there.
legit. You don't even have to do anything really.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything except like sit back and relax.
Yeah, and get some quality content.
Do you think people like play our podcast before they go to sleep?
I don't know. Would that be a positive?
People do that apparently.
Yeah, maybe we are quite dull.
Well, there you go. If that's what you're looking for, here we are.
Someone's got to do it. Maybe give us a call. We'll do some paid content.
We should do like an ASMR
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Okay.
Like we watch a movie and then we like
We say that. Just start like tapping on glass and shit.
yeah.
Like Final Destination.
Yeah. Yeah, just like describing the death scenes but ASMR.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work on people.
You know what? That's going to get a certain type of person.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know what to say to that. To be honest with you,
Well, horror fans are hardcore. Like you
guess.
got to respect that.
when I go to bed with some ASMR death descriptions.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
We are also we're doing our Project Superman, so
Yeah, man.
check in every episode, even if you're not interested in the main movie we're talking about. We're gonna be talking Superman for the next little while.
Is it Superman 3 or is it Supergirl first?
Um,
When does Supergirl drop in?
I think Supergirl might be between 3 and 4, but I'm not entirely sure.
I think you're right about that.
So watch Superman 3, watch Supergirl. We're gonna talk about one of them soon.
Yeah.
I haven't watched either yet.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen Supergirl, so I'm looking forward to that. Even though it's supposed to be horrible, but there you go.
Well, that's part of the fun, right?
Yeah, right.
All right. So, spoilers bother you? Drop off and make sure to come back when you see the whole movie.
Yes, you've been warned. Spoiler time.
Okay. So the masterwork, I think, is with the MRI machine.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It was very good at like. You knew that the MRI machine was going to kill him.
It was going to be doing something, and then like it flashes on like some screen, like someone said, like make sure you remove keys and all jewelry for the MRI machine.
All your piercings are.
Well, and that's when I realized like, oh man, this guy's got a Prince Albert. For sure. But then like the moment I realized that the vending machine was still in play.
Yes.
And the guy was gonna like stab himself with the EpiPen and then get killed by the vending machine thing that they had set up like 10 minutes earlier. I'm like, okay, this is really well thought out.
Yeah.
And then the guy just like bends backwards with the wheelchair through the MRI machine.
That was brutal. That was really brutal.
But I got a question about that. Well, so do you agree that that's the highest quality kill of this one?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say so. I mean, other than the beginning, but I mean, that's not really a kill. That's just freaking carnage with how everyone.
Yeah,
dies at the beginning.
but that whole opening scene is really, really well done. So we can get back to that, but I wanted to ask you about the oldest brother, who it turns out he was like the product of an affair or whatever, right?
Right, yeah.
So did Death not know that he was a brother, and then as he was trying to kill him, it went, "Oh, okay, you're not actually related to this guy."
Yeah,
Okay,
you mean because of like the scene in the tattoo
yeah,
parlor and stuff.
but like, why did he like just almost die there, but then get away with it? Like,
Well, that was something that I was kind of thinking about because they're very much like, oh, like you can't die unless you die in order. So does that like? But to me, I was like, that doesn't make any sense though, because like, so are they invincible now until like, is he invincible until like his sister dies? Like,
I think so.
but like that's kind of a weird rule.
Well, I think you just won't die. Like, you can get very hurt or whatever.
I guess the point.
But-
I guess the point is that like, the older brother, like, Death wasn't trying to kill him.
Yeah,
Well, it doesn't mean he's not going to just die anyway. Like,
But why is Death doing the Rube Goldberg machine thing through his like nose
I don't
piercing,
know.
pulling him up with the fan?
well, why? I mean, people die in weird ways without Death coming after him. I guess.
So this is all just a coincidence.
No, maybe he just like, yes, he does it when people cheat Death, but also he just does it for shits and giggles on the weekend.
I think Death was just like looking at the family tree, just like taking everybody at their word. But then, as he's coming for that guy, he went, This isn't actually sired from Iris, so I'm gonna
I
move
guess
along.
I guess how does he even know, right? Like, he's not doing DNA tests.
Yeah, he's coming out Maury Povich like.
It's like
you are not the father.
You are not gonna die horribly.
I have a feeling that was a planned death, but then that actor was kind of just popping. So like, we want him in the movie for longer.
Well, also, I think they were like, "Oh, we've got two really great ideas for people with piercings dying."
It's kind of mean to people with piercings. This movie,
and we want to do both, but they don't work in the same scene.
You know what? I think you're probably right. I think you're probably right.
They had a whiteboard of all the cool deaths they wanted to do, and right up on the top, they had a couple of great ideas for piercing deaths, and they were like, "Can we do these?" And it's like, "Well, how do we do both? You can't have an MRI machine and a tattoo parlor at the same place." Like, you know what? Let's just say he survives the first one. It's like, well, how are we going to say that? It's like, well, whatever.
Hilarious.
Whatever. We'll just put it in the script.
I think you're right.
Right?
That's probably how it's probably the other, like, you start with the deaths first and you work backwards.
Definitely.
That's how they do the Mission Impossible movies.
Right? Just come up with the big set pieces and then figure out the rest as you go. So you said one didn't really work for you though, right?
Well,
or one you thought wasn't as good.
The one with like the middle sister who gets like thrown into the.
Oh, I thought that was really funny.
Well, it's just really because she's just like, oh, watch out for that rake. Oh, watch out for the soccer ball or whatever, and then that ends up working. Not that it's like a bad kill. It's just like it's sort of that hokey, lame kill. Yeah. But they were calling attention to how lame it would be.
Yeah, that's kind of why I liked it, because they were like, she came up with like. They were like, okay, well, come up with an idea. And she's like, I just came up with like the stupidest thing she could think of. And then it actually happened. And then the way she gets like her head like crushed in that thing and it just like slices in half.
It was fucking brutal, man.
And like this film really tapped into like a lot of my fears, especially the opening scene. I do not like heights and shit like that. Like I went up to see Tower and I was freaking out.
Because they had the glass floor on
really,
there too, right?
Really that stuff really got me.
There's always some joker who's jumping up and down.
And the freaking elevator as well. It's like, oh, come off it, man. Like, don't do that.
When the elevator technician or whatever you call him, when he's saying like they finished 5 months ahead of schedule or whatever,
is that a good thing?
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I was trying to wonder like at what point the premonition was gonna like stop and she was going to zoom back in.
Yeah.
It turns out it was like on the rooftop. But I do still think it was really clever how they just like didn't tell us how the premonition played out, and then we had to catch up with it decades later,
right?
Whatever, like halfway through the movie. I really liked that, because it would have just been the same old thing where she goes like, "Hey everyone, stop dancing on that dance floor." Like, how does no one notice the cracks on that dance floor?
What I was like. I would have been checking that shit constantly, especially when it's like the opening night and people are just jumping up and down that glass like it's not even a concern. Like, these people deserve to die, let's be fair.
I got another bone to pick with this restaurant. Because why don't you have the host checking reservations before people get in the elevator? Doesn't make any sense. You're gonna have like a long queue at the top of the elevator?
Yeah,
Aren't
it
the people
wasn't.
already
It
on
wasn't
there?
very well thought out, was it?
Yeah.
Well, let's be fair. I mean, it was
That-
looked like it was built with spit and glue, so that's probably the least
Yeah,
of their.
that's the least of their problem. But like
Yeah.
that host also had some like attitude. You know,
Well,
I'm
I mean,
glad he got
he
sliced in
got
half.
what he was coming to. Well, you were right though. It's like they make people out to be assholes just so they can kill them in horrible ways. Like that little prick kid. Oh man.
Yeah, he wasn't even there with anybody, right? He kind of just
Like
snuck
who
in.
was he there for?
And he was just like stealing coins out of the fountain, then
Just-
fucking throwing them off the roof.
Right? Calling people fat asses.
Yeah, he's like a harder edge Dennis the Menace or whatever.
Yeah. He was like so happy with himself that he managed to get away, and then it's just like, nope.
He's like throwing shade at people on the stairs who died. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, those are human lives, kids. That's why I'm nice to people all the time, so that I won't die in ironic ways.
Yeah. It's a good way to be, man. You got to be prepared.
It's a good way to live your life.
Yeah. If your life one momentarily unexpected death at a time. You know what I did really like when it cut to the garbage truck driver and he's listening to that. Oh, what song was it? It made me laugh so hard.
I can't remember what song it was, but he was basically on like a dating app or whatever. Just swiping right or swiping left.
But it was a song about like, oh, what song was it? Because it was about like living life or something, or like having a second chance at life. Like, that's why I was laughing.
I can't remember what song
so
it was.
It was so on the nose. It was brilliant.
It's like, I'm gonna crush you.
Yeah, it's like, don't worry, we're all gonna die. That was pretty. Because I was a bit like, why is this guy not noticing all these people running after his truck?
That's why, like, it's one of the many reasons you should not wear headphones while you're driving.
Right, especially driving one of those trucks. Oh boy. Plus, it also like freaked me out, that death, because like I know that that's happened to people, like homeless, like happened in Toronto, didn't it? A homeless guy,
Yeah, that was
sleeping in the garbage can.
That was either last year or the year before or
Yeah.
whatever. But that does happen occasionally.
It's like that would just be like the most like the scariest thing in the
Well,
world.
I'd have to hope that like the person wasn't conscious while it was happening. Like it's
I mean, now
we should stop talking about it because like it just
We're putting a downer on this now.
to think
People
about-
actually died, Trevor. Let's talk about that.
to think about like well, yeah, you know what? 2 people had cancer in this
Yeah, you know,
episode or whatever. We can talk
shouldn't
about
make
that.
light of it. It wasn't all comedy. Like real people have real problems, you know.
So each of one of these movies has someone who has like a premonition or whatever, then they can kind of game the system.
Right.
I think Stephanie was probably like the weakest person with this power because she knew it well enough to know that something was happening, but she never once successfully like pieced together and prevented a death or anything.
They kind of tried to make a point of her being able to do that. Like they really laid on thick at the end when she's like, "I have to go with you because I can see things before they happen."
All she knows is that something is happening.
Then she didn't do shit at all. It was crazy.
Well, she's like, she sees all these warning signs, and she's like, "We have to get into this cabin." Like, there's nothing special about this cabin. The cabin is just an idea about
it's
like
just an enclosed
secluding
place.
yourself and keeping yourself safe. Like,
yeah,
I did think that was interesting though, because in the very first movie, I remember the main character went to a cabin and secluded himself for a long time.
Oh, really?
So
A lot of callbacks in this one that I didn't notice.
So Iris basically just did that for 30 years or whatever. That's pretty funny.
That's hardcore, right? Let's be fair. Like, jeez. Yeah, I think, like, I don't think the characters in the movie really understood the laws of the movie at some points.
The guy explaining the rules, like all of those must have come out during the franchise at some point. I don't remember the one where he said, if you kill someone, you get their time or whatever.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. They could have really dug into that more. Like, that would be really interesting when someone becomes a serial killer.
Them hinting that they were going to kill the baby
that was pretty funny.
Really funny.
That was pretty funny.
But no, like it just seemed weird they introduced that idea and then they didn't pick that one up at all.
Yeah. The one thing about these movies, all of them, I think, is that there is a bit of a like, a lot of these people are very stupid. Like, what are you thinking doing that? Like, they're like the brothers' immediate plan is let's seclude ourselves from everybody else.
Yeah.
And kill you by making you have an allergic reaction. That seems like a terrible plan. There's got to be better ways.
That seems like it would just wreak havoc on your nervous system. Like I feel like just doing the defibrillator on yourself, shocking your heart would be better.
Just stop your heart. Yeah. But as well, it's like, and then hide him in a room by himself with like a machine that just more turns on by itself.
Yeah, like get out of that room.
Yeah, I'd be like, anything that's slightly odd that happens, just like get out of Dodge as fast as you can. And like, and even like the people around is like that machine was going haywire, which I'm pretty sure wouldn't be able to happen. But it's everyone's just
Yeah.
like, oh, what's going on here?
I feel like you need a passcode to get into that, not just like a phone slapped against the
just press it, like faintly brush on the button to make it go like into apeshit mode.
Yeah.
It's like craziness.
It's like, yeah, like why does it even have that dial
It's like,
to it?
why is it able to go that high? It's like research mode because researchers do mad shit.
It's like it turns into a particle accelerator or something.
What did you think of the backyard death? I really liked the build up to that.
It was great.
They played it so well. It's just like all the different things that they telegraph, and like some of it just like gets nixed, and some of it like pays off in the end.
Because really, like a guy stepping on glass, a lawnmower going over his head is kind of lame, but but that was so well directed.
Because the whole time I was like, nobody's drinking a shard of glass. Like, let's be real. You're not going to drink a shard of glass.
Well, I was wondering, like, who the fuck has like an alcoholic beverage and just like puts the ice in their mouth and goes as they're drinking that? Like,
oh, I do that. I'm an ice chewer.
Like while you're drinking a cocktail?
Yeah, I mean, if the ice goes into my mouth, I'll chew up some ice for sure. But what I won't do is swallow massive shards of ice.
I feel like I'm not chewing on ice while I'm drinking iced drinks at all.
I do. I like chewing on ice.
Okay, well, I'll be on the lookout next time I have you over for a cocktail.
But if it was a massive giant piece of glass in my drink that wasn't ice, I would know pretty quick, and it would not kill me.
Yeah, but that one did fall on the
and that was the point.
Grass, right?
It was like, yeah, that's not the point. Obviously, that's stupid.
But that was such great, like, kind of like Hitchcock storytelling. Like you tell the audience something that the characters don't know, and then you feel the tension that they don't feel.
Yeah, it was so well done. I love like how she rushed in and she was like, "Oh, I have to help," and it's like, "What are you gonna do?"
That's this thing. Like, she didn't do anything.
No, she just went, "Hey, I'm here to watch."
The most impact she had on the plot was let's ram this RV through to get to this cabin of death.
Yeah.
Which was a bad plan. I gotta say, it was a bad plan. She was bad at it.
And like, I don't know much about gas explosions, but I felt like that one was a bit like large because it's like the thing hits the gas
stove. Didn't seem to be going that long.
And it went for like half a second, and then it just exploded. It was full of gas. But maybe, I don't know, maybe it just went back up the pipe.
I have a hard time believing that a lady who dedicated her life to making her cabin the safest ever is running things off of gas like that.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Like, wouldn't she be burning things on,
a wood stove?
Wood stove, or like it's a lot more controllable?
Well, I don't know, man. If you have a wood stove, it means you got to chop wood, and that seems like a really bad plan.
I don't know. I'm not having running gas at all.
I'm just laying down and die. I don't know.
I'm just laying down. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. If you kill someone out of the cycle, does that break the cycle?
That's what I mean. It's like these rules are so odd. It's like if somebody like does something that they should die, is fate going to make it so that they survive because they need to be killed in sequence? That makes them basically like invincible superheroes.
Well, there was that Rick and Morty episode that did something like that. Do you remember the fortune teller one?
Yeah.
The one lady who was behind it, her fortune was like, you'll become the richest businesswoman in the world or whatever. And she's like, well, I'm never going to achieve that. So I'm immortal. So I can do whatever I want.
Exactly. See, you can't really dig into the laws of stuff. You just to take it at face value and just go with it.
Well, and this one is like especially silly, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea, like bloodlines, like it's killing off because your grandma should have died. Like everybody in the family in the bloodline needs to die. It's a cool concept, but yeah, it's pretty. If you think about it for half a minute, you're like, this is just dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Especially it has to be the order that they were going to die, and there was like 100 of them. So it's like you got to go one at a time and kill all their grandkids, and then go on to the next one.
It's not even the order that they die. It's the order that bloodline dies. So like it does it like kings and queens style.
Right. But it's still the order that they were supposed to have died. That's why the little kid was the last one alive, because he was the last one to die.
But I know what you mean. But like death isn't just like knocking all the originals off. Going after the kids. It's like I'm gonna go after this branch first, then this branch,
that's what I mean. It's
branch.
Such a weird way to do things.
But they're doing it like the line of succession for the British throne. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I know what you mean. Like oldest son first.
Yeah, but that was just a way so that like the the mother and the kids could reconnect. And like, by the way, like, why did the father just like fuck off?
He
like,
really
halfway
did. He's
through?
like, I'm going for a walk, and then he's just gone.
I know that like these crazy happenstance are killing my whole family, but you know.
Well, I guess they did do the whole like they went off in the RV and they're like, oh, Dad's gonna be mad, and like, oh well, fuck him, and then they just left. So I guess
yeah, fuck that guy.
I guess he's just frantically running around trying to figure out what's going on like at the end. But yeah, that was a. You know, I was waiting for, and I kind of was hoping for it. Is like because they spent so much time with each death, and like you say, just ramping up that tension. I was really expecting them to do like an out of nowhere death, which they kind of tried to do with the mom at the end, but it didn't really work for me. I felt like it was too late by that point.
I thought when they were meeting JB in the hospital,
Yeah,
and he was like backing away from them,
right.
I thought it was gonna be like a Deep Blue Sea-esque like Sam Jack death or whatever.
Yeah, I thought someone was just gonna get taken out like instantly without any sort of creeping tension. It was just like boom, but they didn't do it, not even once.
Well, how I thought the movie was gonna end was that like they're at the prom photo shoot or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then like, you know, they're talking to JB on the phone and they're like, yeah, we broke the cycle because I
died.
I died and I came back, and he's like, well, that stops you from dying, but it doesn't stop everyone down the chain from dying. Or whatever,
that'd be hilarious.
And then the little brother dies.
That would be hilarious, to be fair.
I don't really like that the movie just ended on them both dying, because then it makes me think, what the fuck's the point? It should have ended on that being a premonition.
Yeah, that would, maybe it was. There you go. But
I don't know. Maybe
know
that happened in the end credits, so we just didn't.
It was a kind of a bit like, oh, and you know what? They both die, which I know, like they were going for that. It's like, you know, you think it's happy ending? Duh, no, it's not. Dead.
I just think like that leaves me feeling nothing at the end of it. Like I did really enjoy this movie, but then if like both the characters die at the end as like a big like fart sound, like what the fuck is the point of this? Like why did I just watch this movie?
Yeah, and I also kind of felt that a bit like I understand they were going with the symmetry of the penny causing the deaths.
I really liked that.
Yeah, but I kind of felt like it seemed a bit forced. It was like, oh, it falls out of the mom's bag and goes, and the old lady picks it up, and then the old lady drops it, which causes a train to crash. I was like, that seems like...
I think that penny really wanted to kill some people.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like you could have spent a bit more time to come up with something a bit more interesting than that. It kind of seemed a bit like, yeah, okay, the penny just like causes a train to crash and then they die. It's like, seriously?
Maybe it would have been better if the penny contributed to the death of the mom or something like that.
The way the penny causes the disaster at the restaurant was like really interested and not what you expect. Like you expect it to fall down and hit someone, but then it gets sucked in and it causes like that's the Rube Goldberg thing that it does so well, these movies, right? But then at the end it was like, oh no, it just derails a train. It just derails a train. It's like, what?
I have to think that trains don't just derail like that.
Yeah, like from like a penny sticking in the track, like that's all it takes to be trains to be derailing all over the place. Like, that's insanity.
Well, maybe I want to talk a little bit about our audience that we saw this movie with.
Oh my god!
Because like the place was packed for a Sunday night, which is when we saw it.
Packed IMAX theater. It was. It's good to see the movie selling out because it doesn't usually happen.
90% of the crowd was like a great crowd. It was really fun to watch a horror movie.
90% might be a bit high, to be honest with you.
But I still think overall it was really fun to see a horror movie like this with a big crowd.
You really do. That's why I wasn't as bothered about it as like I would have been like if this was a normal movie and we had this crowd, I would have been screwing.
But so many people were talking, so many people were on their phones. It was really kind of driving me crazy.
Yep.
You said the guy next to you like just kept taking screenshots, right?
No, not screenshots. He kept getting his phone out and just doing like 30-second clips. Like recording 30-second clips and then put his phone down on full brightness and just like look like I don't know if he was sending it somewhere, uploading it, but like did it like 3 or 4 times through the movie, and I'm like, what are you doing that for?
That's going on TikTok or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, that's what I mean. Like any other movie, I would have been telling him, but like this one, I was like, well, you know what? Whatever, I don't care.
And so, at this screening, there was also like a 3-year-old
fully children at this movie, and like the rating is like what is it, like 14 plus or whatever?
Yeah. So
like I went to the bathroom at one point, and as I was going back to the screen, a child came out of our screening to go to the bathroom, and I was like, is this kid lost? He looks like 8 years old.
Just by himself?
Yeah, well, he's obviously there with his parents,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was by himself going to the bathroom. I was like, you supposed to be in the Minecraft movie? That's across the hall. Like, what's going on?
But no, like, yeah, there was a 3-year-old, like, young enough that he was making sounds that you can clearly tell he was not even comprehending
No, it's like
that things
it's
ever
like
happened.
it's like baby
It's like,
sounds.
But I was going to say to you, do you remember a few years ago when we saw John Wick 4
Yes,
and
yes.
someone brought a baby to that screening?
Yes.
Do you think that this 3-year-old was that same baby? Because honestly, I think that woman looked familiar to me.
You know what?
I
I
think
would
that
not remember that, but you might. I wouldn't be shocked.
I think that this is so Pete and I, in the days before the podcast, we went to see John Wick 4, and someone just full on brought their baby to see John Wick 4.
Yeah.
This is not a Stars and Strollers
Situation,
screening.
yeah.
And we thought it was quite unusual to bring a baby to John Wick 4. The kid did fall asleep after 10 minutes or so, and we got over it. I think this was that baby. I think this woman is taking her kid to whatever movie she goes to.
Baby's gonna have a better like watch history than I've got, man.
Yeah. So I think like this is like a recurring arc in this show. Is that this baby's just gonna show up over and over and over again
Where is he now?
until like they're like 18 or whatever, going off to college, and then we'll have them on as a guest on the
Do you
podcast.
remember anything from that showing of Final Destination Bloodlines?
Yeah, man, that really.
He's
messed
like,
me up.
yeah, that lawnmower death was the best.
Yeah, he's just like really into it.
Yeah,
You know what? Maybe he'll turn out fine.
right. Yeah, movies never harmed anybody, right?
Well, I'm not one to talk because I went to a lot of inappropriate things when I was a kid, but I don't think I went to anything like this at that.
Yeah, you were walking, right? By the time you were watching that stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. Walking, but in diapers.
Yeah, I do sometimes just despair for the generation coming up. It's like you look around in the movie theater and it's just like half people on their phones. Like literally someone taking photographs with the flash on of like God knows what in the middle of the movie. This is not like this is not like during the opening credits or something. This is just in the middle of the movie.
Well, and we got there like just as the movie was just about to start. And then I lost, like it went completely dark and I lost you. So like I literally had to turn on my flashlight to find you.
You were totally the doddering old person.
But like
excuse me, I've lost my friend. It's so dark.
I got distracted because there was someone on the left-hand side who was like yelling at someone in seats saying like, you can move over to and this would solve the whole problem is what they were saying.
Is that really?
So that's when I got distracted. And then like you were just gone. And like
you're like, you're missing the where you going? You're missing the drama.
You were very fast.
Well, I was wearing fully black as well, so I think I probably just melted away into the darkness.
I felt like I was going insane. Like I'm like
I turned around and Trevor was just like spinning around in the aisle, like, oh, I don't know where my friend is.
Because like it just so happened that it went completely black during that part.
It was very dark, to be fair.
So I was kind of a jerk and had to like, because I felt disoriented. I didn't know where I was.
I know you look like someone who's just like an old person that was confused.
Maybe that's what I'm becoming. Maybe I should just lean into it.
Got a glimpse of your future, just like, excuse me, home is very dark.
But anyway, like for all we're saying though, like for people talking and everything like that, there was good energy.
It's
overall
it was the movie where I would let that slide. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But it was a bit disheartening at times, but you know what? I'm happy. Like I say, I'm happy to see people go into the movies because we need more of that.
Well, and like that's a pretty good sign this movie's going to do well.
Yeah, right. Because we see a lot of movies, Trevor and I, and they're not usually that busy.
It's certainly not a Sunday night.
Right, exactly.
It is Sunday for a long weekend here. So
true. There is that, but yeah, still, you don't usually see it that busy.
Any last thoughts on Final Destination's Bloodline?
No, I mean, it was a Final Destination movie, and it was a pretty good one as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, you don't need to listen to me because I'm not a huge Final Destination guy. But I had a good time with this one. I would recommend it.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we rate things at a 6.5 on this podcast, like one does.
Yep.
What would you give this one, Pete?
I mean, I don't know, like a 4.5.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Just because it's not my type of thing, but I mean, like, if this was your type of thing, maybe you'd go higher. But
this was just striving to have like very clever kills, and it delivered for sure.
It delivered, and it had some good gave me some giggles, gave me some. I hid behind my hands a couple of times. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, ooh.
It made me squeamish a few times,
Yes.
which is actually kind of hard to
That's
do.
what I mean. So I did that, and it was inventive enough. It was good. Go see it. Go see it.
Go see it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So
Anything else?
no, I think that's it for this week, right? So go and enjoy the bank holiday Monday.
There you go.
Starts in a couple of hours. All right. Well, until next time, guys. That's the final word.